Hello guys. Today is Skycurser daily number 16, and we are basically ready for MGC. So today we're going to do a lot of focusing on tech debt paydown, and that means basically cleaning up as much of our code as we can, trying to get some efficiencies out of it where possible. Deduplication of code, remove duplicate code, inheriting where possible between objects, organizing files a little bit, and that collectively is basically tech debt paydown. So we will be doing some testing back and forth between updating code and making sure everything runs as expected after updating code. So we're going to just go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please post them in chat. If you joined us yesterday, you remember that we just finished up all the little bug fixes that we wanted to update for MGC. Specifically, we knocked about 6 or 7 of these items out. And today we are going to be focusing on this, as we don't want to make any major updates right before MGC, considering we have a good build or two right now. So let's go ahead and get started. For the most part, it's going to be a fairly silent stream today. I will talk through some things as I'm working through them, especially if you have any questions. But I'm just going to keep my head down and just kind of focus on the task at hand, and going to update my window here so that we can see what the current task is. Okay. I'll also do the same thing for this scene. Okay, all set. And I think at this point we are set in terms of how everything should look. Guess I got one more here. Okay, I think we're in a good spot. And I will go ahead and get started here. Okay, so where am I going to start out? I'm thinking for the most part I will start out on some of the objects that we were updating earlier, and we were starting to create a base enemy object, and we were starting to also inherit properly with each of the enemies, and making sure we were going to overlap where possible. Okay, let's start with enemy 1. Not sure if I can do sweet. I'm just going to start labeling things a little bit better here. Yo, 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 what up to Beast Lee? Good to see ya, man. Tonight we're just focusing on some code cleanup. We pretty much got everything in order for MGC. And so we just want to start making sure our code looks and feels nice as we are editing and moving forward with everything. Oops. Override parent properties. How you doing, man? I'm doing good. Like I said, everything that we worked on last night got us ready for MGC, and tonight the main thing to focus on is just some code cleanup. Other than that, yeah, everything else is going pretty good. Job's going good and all that. How about you? Okay. Max hit points there. Base image speed should be overridden. Image speed should be overridden. Original step speed. I'm just doing kind of a check here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Step speed. Make sure everything here is unique comparatively. On screen, doing good. Watching Skycurser progress day to day. Thanks, man. Yeah, loving it. Glad to see you here, man. I really appreciate it. Alright, so still going here. Blood explosions, stepper, max stepper, sprite chosen, sprite index. Direction. Sprite counter, activate fire, fireball, hover bounce. Yes, all unique for sure. Standard type of this enemy. Blood explosion count. Enemy prop sound. And yep, we're in good shape there. Okay, since this is the init, I'm going to continue with each object, specifically each enemy object. What is the image speed ratio to frames per second? Well, it really just kind of depends. I don't know if I have a ratio per se. By default, my our art director, the guy who does all the artwork, he basically programs everything at 30 frames per second. Well, he doesn't program it, but he draws it at 30 frames per second, any sprites and sprites animation. And the room is 60 frames per second. So what happens a lot of times, I generally end up having to slow things down a little bit. So if the image, if you're familiar with GameMaker, image speed basically goes from 0 to 1, or I think it actually can go from 0 to 100 if you would prefer to do it that way, because GameMaker just kind of looks at either way as a percentage. And so I generally have to slow it down. I find myself often going 0.33, so a third of the original speed that I'm sent it, or 0.66, 2/3 of the original speed. So usually I slow it down a little bit. And if we were going to actually do the math, it's different for every single sprite. So I can't just say there's one, image speed ratio to frames per second. But I guess if we did the math on that, and you go 0.33, I think that would actually be about, let's see, 30 frames per second. If we made it full speed, that would be 60 frames per second. I don't think that. It's already about twice as fast. So, and usually I slow everything down. So, I would say the ratio would probably be maintained as. Let me just think about that for a second. Sorry, man. I'm don't normally think of it in those terms. But usually, if I think about it, I can figure it out. So if we think 30 frames per second is twice as fast as 60 frames per second because you have fewer frames in the second, and we reduce the speed, let's say we reduced it to half, that would actually make it 60 frames per second, which would be a ratio of 1 to 1. And that's kind of the idea. You want it, the idea is that you want to make it slower. And usually I go a little bit lower than 0.5 on the image speed. I find myself doing that quite a bit. So if I go lower than 0.5, I would say that okay. So let me finish this thought before I read your question. So if I go lower on the image speed, that means my image speed will be more than, like to get all the way through, the normal image speed would be a little bit longer than 60 frames per second. And of course, each one of these images is less than 60 frames. Tafer 1351, how's it going, man? Do you know Closure Bro? No, I don't. Closure? Closure? I don't know Closure. Who's Closure? So pretend my room speed is 30. To make something move 2 frames per second, what would the image speed be? Two frames per second. That's really slow. If we wanted to do 2 frames per second on, and the other thing is we're talking about 30 and 60 frames per second, so it doesn't, it's not as simple as going, 100 frames per second and doing the math that way. Got my phone. Give me a second. Let me do some calculations here. I know this should be a really easy question, but that's why I always, fiddle around until I know I've got the right answer and let them, programming do the work for me. But I can think through it usually. So let me see. Room speed is 30. Make something move 2 frames per second. So 60 would be basically 100%. And if we wanted something to go 2 frames per second at 60, I guess that would also depend on, the answer to your question would also depend on what the get if you had an animation. Well, I guess, are you asking, do you want um, the image to go across the screen at 2 frames per second, or do you just want the GIF itself to go 2 frames per second, or the sprite itself to go 2 frames per second? I would think that you're talking about the sprite based on the way you say image speed. So 60 frames per second. If it was built at 60 frames per second, to bring it down to 2 frames per second, I think there's actually a way to do this, multiplying to get it up to 100 first. So times 0.02. I think you might just be able to say image speed times 0.02. Okay, so you're saying, yeah, the sprite GIF. I think you might just be able to say image speed times 0.02, because 1 is going to be whatever the image speed is, period, at its regular rate. So that would be 100%. So just multiply it times 0.02. Yeah. For you, if you're moving at 30 frames per second, it would still be a similar scenario. Your 30 frames per second would be 1. And I would probably multiply yours times 0.01. So 100 times 0.01 would be basically be, that's incorrect, hold on. 100. Let's do 1 times 0.01 equals I would almost take your number and multiply it times 0.01, whatever the image speed is. So I would basically go image speed equals image speed on the create event, that is, or if you send your create event controls off to a script, you would put it in there times 0.01. So this would be your base image speed, basically, whatever your base is, and you're multiplying it times 0.01. You're basically getting 1% of whatever it currently is. For you, I feel like that would be 2 frames per second. So that would be extremely slow. I generally just go with what feels correct, and I don't generally think about how many frames per second do I want this to move. But if you need it to move at a specific speed, I would first check and see what the GIF or the sprite was programmed in to begin with. Was it programmed at 30 frames per second to look correct? If it was programmed at 30 frames per second, which I think is default for something like Photoshop, then 1 times 0.01, I believe, would get you your 2 frames per second. So your image speed, which is 1 times 0.01, I think that would get you your 2 frames per second. Does that make sense? I'm just doing some math real quick. Yeah, 30 times 0.3, which is a third of the speed, would be 9 frames per second. So 30 times 0.01 would be 0.3. That's not correct then. 30 times 0.1. 30 times 0.08. 30 times 0.07. So you could go image speed times 0.07, and that would get you close to 2 frames per second. 30 times 0.07 would actually be 2.1. 2.1 frames per second. So it would slow it down dramatically. No, that's alright, man. Sorry, I just don't normally think through those questions. I feel like that's the correct answer, though. Usually if I think about it, I didn't take computer science classes, and I'm sure this would be very natural to a computer science major, a comp sci major, but or even somebody who mastered in computer programming. But I have done neither of those, so yeah. I did well in math classes in college, but of course that's been a while now, and I didn't go majoring in something that was extremely math heavy. Programming is not necessarily extremely math heavy. You just got to know how to solve the problem or know the correct formula, and if you could think through it long enough, then the program does the work for you. All right. So does that help though? Like I said, I'm pretty certain that's the answer. If the GIF, so one last recap. If the GIF was drawn at 30 frames per second, which I think is generally default, 30 frames per second to make it look accurate, then you would multiply it times 0.07 and you would get 2.1 frames per second. Okay, continuing on here. Thanks for getting me sidetracked. Okay. Hit points, max hit points, final animation, death counter, sprite index, image speed. So image speed is here. I could take this up here. It's not quite unique. Image speed. I don't see sprite index. I don't see speed. Original image index, incrementer. Take this guy up here because it's an override. Speed factor equals 3, and I don't think I'm using the speed factor here in the create, so I'm not going to worry about this. Now, while we're doing this, we got to compare object 1 and object 2 to each other to see if there's any overlap here. If there is, then we can drop it in the base. So anything that's unique on both of these. So let's pull this guy down here, this guy up, and step speed on screen, stepper, sprite index. I am doing a sprite index, and I'm setting it here, so I think I'll take this guy out of here, and I'll go ahead and put him in. Let me just think about this for a second. I'll take this guy, put it up. Sprite index I will just declare. Actually, I don't think there's any reason for me to declare sprite index. Mainly because everything has a sprite index, so there's almost like literally no reason to declare it here. But each one has a unique sprite index, which is probably why I had it down here to begin with. So let's just leave it there. Laugh out loud, my bad. Okay. I don't see anything else that overlaps here. Enemy 3. So we'll verify, compare enemy 3 to the init, enemy 3. Unique properties, image speed here, overriding the parent, original step speed. Do I have an original step speed? Yes, I do. Right now it's the exact same, but I think that's fine. HP equals 1, incrementer there, good. Direction selected, dying, nothing. Now compare enemy 3 to enemy 2. Okay. Specifically, we're comparing unique properties. Enemy 3 counter, final animation, dying. Enemy 3 dying. Nope, there's basically nothing there. Just to verify, try to compare it versus enemy 1. Is enemy 1 still open? Enemy 1, enemy 3, where are you? Tab management would be so awesome. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. See, I can't drop them. Okay. So, Phrenology, what's up, man? Welcome back. Okay. I'm in enemy 1. We need to look at unique properties for enemy 1. Nothing here, no direction selected, no dying. Good. So we're in a good spot here. Enemy 3 is done. Enemy 2 is done. Okay, enemy 4. Create event. Whoops. Yep. Alright. Base enemy init. So enemy 4 hasn't even been touched yet, so let's go ahead and grab a couple of things here. Override parent. Event inherited. The reason I was asking because I have a dex variable that controlled the speed of the shooting animation and you can level it up, but once it was too high, my step event that caught when it hit a specific image index started not working. Trying to find a new way to go about it. Sorry for the large paragraph. I don't care about the large paragraph. Dex variable, I'm not sure what that is, so maybe explain that. Maybe I should know, but I don't know. That controlled the speed of the shooting animation. You can level it up, but once it's too high. Yeah, so what I would do is not work off of the image index. It depends on what your... I'd probably have to see your animation, but I would probably not control the... if it's a shooting animation, I would probably have like an... Is it a bullet that you're trying to control? As it goes across the screen or something, the animation just got faster and faster. Is that how it's working? I'll wait for you to respond. Okay, collision on. Original step speed. Image speed. don't see original image speed up there, so I see base image speed. So I'm just going to keep, I may change this to base image speed instead of original image speed, but if I do that, I have to make sure that it's updated in the step event or anywhere that the original image speed is used. No, when you left click the image speed equals dex. Ah, okay. Got it. And if image index is equal to 12, instance create bullet. Oh, got it. Okay, so the reason why it probably stopped working as you were speeding it up, I've mentioned this a couple times on stream here. Image index, as you speed it up and start to use things like decimals, means that whenever it increments and goes through each image index, as it's trying to match up with the frames in the room, as I understand the way GameMaker works is it will increment one image index for every frame in the room if its image speed is 1, if that makes sense. So whenever you speed it up or slow it down, you introduce the possibility that your image index will then be attached, will then generate a decimal. So you may be missing altogether image index equal to 12. So you may have something like 11.7, 11.8, 11.95, 12.01, 12.46. At that point, you can completely miss image index is equal to 12 when you speed up or slow down an image index. So either make sure your image index speeds up in whole numbers, which is very hard to do basically, or give it a range to create the bullet, if that makes sense. So you would say if image index is greater than 12 and less than 13, then create the bullet. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if that does. Okay, so no direction, outside room, yep. I think I may be able to just do away with that altogether. Hit points, yes, this is definitely going to override. Yep. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Yep, good, 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 good. Glad that helped. Hit impact, speed factor. Oh, there's a hit impact. That is there. And I am going to go ahead and remove outside room because that's in the parent. Image speed I'm going to leave alone. Collision on equals true. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off here because it's in the parent. Speed factor, flashing, flash counter max. Boom, remove, same as parent. Firing weapon equals 0. Fire countdown, original fire countdown, fire weapon, fire factor, nothing, nothing, nothing. Dying equals false, which I think I saw in enemy 3. We'll come to that in a minute. Step equals 0. Yep, that's a duplicate. Move. I don't know what that variable is, but I'm sure it was important when I created it. Sometimes naming variables can be a little bit funny. Incrementer equals room speed, fine. Depth equals 101, same. Explosions equals 0, same. EBM impact equals false. EBPM impact equals false. It's the eyeball plane missile impact. That should be mostly in everything at this point. So dying equals false. I think that's in enemy 3. good base enemy. Enemy 3, here we go. Enemy 3 and enemy 4. We have dying equals false. So we're going to take that out, put it in the parent, and it should be fine that it's set on all the other ones, but we're going to gain some efficiencies here. Removing duplicate code. Okay, and we're getting close to where we can test. I'm going to probably try updating one more. I think I have a direction selected here too. Do I have a direction selected? Nope. Okay. I see direction in both enemy 4 and enemy 1. What about enemy 2? Come on, game maker. Is there a direction here? Direction selected, false. That's fine. So I think we could go I'm not sure if we should override direction based on what this guy does. Enemy 2 is basically the floating eyeball, and he's kind of like the jellyfish. So direction selected equals false. I'll go ahead and put him in here, and we will see if there's any unexpected consequences of doing it there. Direction equals 180. Let's make sure we remove that from here. Direction 180 out of create. Oh look, we have a direction selected right here on enemy 2 and enemy 3. So, gonna make sure that's out of enemy 2. And out of enemy 3. Enemy 1. Is there a direction selected or a direction? I think we're good there. I'm looking for enemy 4 now. Man, window management, game maker would be awesome. Okay, go. Cancel, I don't want to touch that yet. Enemy 4. No direction selected. No direction. Perfect. Okay. Just did a little cleanup here of windows just because it's getting kind of crazy. Go back to base enemy object. We just finished 4. Let's do one more, which is 5. And check out what's here. Alright. And just to make sure it looks clean, just like everything else, just grab some extra code here. All I see is Game Maker news page. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Let me make sure you don't see that anymore. Thanks for telling me. This is my crazy window right now with all the extra items here. Okay. Also, unique properties. There we go. Thanks. Yep, no problem, man. Original step speed. This will be overriding. And original step speed fast equals 6. Let's see. I think this is just going to have to be the way I do this in original step speed fast. I guess I can just say sorry guys, yeah. Egg on face. Trying to for whatever reason, I don't know why it doesn't pick it up unless I turn on the monitor setting that I have so you guys can basically see everything, which I'm fine with. It's just I'm trying to keep it clean for you guys so you guys only see what you need to see, so that it doesn't get like uber confusing with everything that's here. But that just may not be avoidable, is what it seems like. Image speed, this is definitely something that's going to get overridden. Original step speed here. Nope, I'll let the speed factor stay because I don't think speed factor is set over here in the base object. HP hit points equals 10. Yep, take this guy up here. Override what's in the parent. Explosions 0. Let me make sure that says 0. Yep. Delete. Hit impact is 10. Same as parent. Delete. Direction selected equals false. Same as parent. Delete. Outside room false. Same as parent. Delete. These guys are all same as parent. Bye bye. Dying equals false. Bye bye. Same as parent. Step equals 0. Same as parent. Incrementer equals room speed. Same as parent. Initial movement equals true is unique, I believe. Yep. Depth equals 111. That's an override. And death by mini blast and EBPM impact. That's a duplicate. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, enemy 5 is good. Now, before I go changing anything else beyond like the 5 base enemies that we have, because beyond enemy 5 we get into tank 1, which is the huge carrier, boss 1, Necrostar, and Necrostar 2. The flaw, okay, I'm back. Your method worked a bit. The flaw being it creates more than one now, but I'll find a way. I'm getting you off task too much. That's an easy answer to Beastly. So what I would say is, in your create event or your initialize script, set a variable, set it to false. Whenever the firing happens, set that variable to true. And then whenever it reaches the end of its animation or whatever, like when it gets to a certain point in the animation end, then then reset that variable back to false again. So that basically when you're doing the check for like between 12 and 13 or whatever you're going to do, just add that one extra check to it, which is this Boolean true or false? If it's false, then you let it fire, and then you set it to true right inside of that conditional, and then it won't fire again until you set it back to false again, if that makes sense. Okay, so enemy 4, we're in a good spot there. Now I'm going to go ahead and test, see if our enemy base object is performing as expected. Otherwise, we might be running into some issues where, you know, I deleted an extra variable, or there's a variable that is going to cause a bug, and we'll address that. So let's go test. And we'll test long enough to see the first 5 enemies. We're talking about the EBP, the eyeball plane, the FEB, which is the floating eyeball, the popcorn eyeball, the PEB, the PEB we call it, the fly, and the bubble eyeball, the BEB. Alright, here we go, here we go. Okay, first load of the night always takes the longest. Still waiting, almost done. Alright, almost finished. Here we go. Oh man. I think what it's doing is compiling for C. Should give us a little bit of boost.
Skycurser. Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Well, this is great. So we've got a problem here, obviously. That should have transitioned right over to the game. Hopefully you guys see the game, but there was a problem for sure. First off, let's change this back to Windows instead of Windows YYC, because there's not really anything that I did there. Yeah, sorry about that, DeBeastly. I'll make sure that it transitions over to the game as it should. Let's see, Windows. Okay, the compiler took us to Windows Yo-Yo compiler. The program I use as a checklist, are you talking about Trello? You talking about this guy right here as a checklist? Trello, Trello. Okay, we will not have a black screen this time. We should be in good shape.
Mission 1. Death at dusk.
Ah, here we go.
Go!
So, when it compiled to Yo-Yo compiler, which is supposed to be compiling to C, there was some inconsistencies with the way it compiled, so it didn't work the way that as expected with the C program. So, well, with the C language, it was supposed to be compiling through the C. So everything looks good with the popcorn eyeball. Here's the floating eyeball. I think everything looks good with that guy. Here's the eyeball plane, the EVP. Good there. That looks good. And here's the carrier, or the tank as we call it sometimes. Here's the bubble eyeball. Everything looks good there. And we're looking for the fly now, which will be coming up in just a minute.
Continue.
Okay, everything looks good with the fly so far. I don't see anything else. Let me make sure you're still shooting. Yep, still shooting. So I think we're good all the changes that we've made. We've reduced some code and made it a little bit easier to manage, and putting it into base object and letting inheritance take place. Good shape. At this point, I think we've seen all 5 of the ones that we've worked on, and everything worked as expected. So, no, we have a friend. I guess Chris has a friend who's basically a voice actor, and he's done the voices, and he does, you know, he does like multiple video games, and does the voice acting for that. Thanks, Asterisk 6. This has been in development in like real life time for a little bit over a year, but if we take, you know, if we actually, because we do all this in our spare time, if we actually take it into account like it's a 40-hour work week, I think it would be somewhere just over 5 months, something like that. So that is if we had a 40-hour work week, and of course I'm sure if we, you know, worked on this 40 hours a week straight, it would even be further along because we'd start to get a lot of efficiencies out of it. So, okay, we're in a good place with the initialization script for the object base enemy. And, oh, in Asterisk 6, we are going to be going to MGC. So, awesome, man. Thanks for the follow. We're going to be going to MGC. We've got an arcade cabinet for this. We built a prototype arcade cabinet for this, which you can see at this link. If you scroll down far enough, you'll be able to see it there. And yeah, we're building this mainly for arcade first, and we definitely, like, that's our main focus. And then once we get that in place, then we'll figuring out, you know, what it'll take to migrate to other platforms. And of course, you know, GameMaker makes that easy. It's kind of a middleware. It makes it easy for you to export to other places. But there are a lot of things to take into consideration even when you do export. All right. A lot of configurations basically that you have to make sure that you set up correctly. Now we're on tank 1, object tank 1, create event. Alright, let's just see what we got here. I think you guys can see what I see. And let's just do it like this. Well, that's not going to work. Give me just a second. I'm trying to pull that screen back over here because I basically just lost it. Let me see this for a second. Oh yeah, I like that. Alright, I'm going to have to close GameMaker just for a second. I'll make sure you guys can still see everything. Yeah, go ahead and save the changes. Basically, when I drag that off screen, I was trying to snap it to the window, and I've got another monitor up, and it basically just dragged it out of view, and I can't grab it again until I close GameMaker, I think. So I'm going to do that real quick. Reopen GameMaker. Defender and Tempest. Got an original fan here. Original Defender and Tempest. Man, I don't even know if I've played those games. I know the guys that I'm working with, Astra 6, their names are Chris and Phil. I have a very sneaking feeling that Chris, our art director, he actually collects arcade games. He's got several in his house, and he's just a fanatic to the nth degree. I think that he would probably be the guy to say, yes, I have played those games before. Alright, so we're in a good spot here. Let's go ahead and open this guy back up. Enemies, space enemy, script. And he still wants to hide from me. Basically opening in the same place. So I'm going to open an external editor and just, I may be able to even, I want to see if I can, amazing times for sure. Yeah, man, actually that's kind of what we're trying to do, is bring a little bit of that back. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons why, you know, games have migrated to consoles and smartphones. But we also kind of wanted to do something, you know, kind of at a time when nobody is really building for the arcade. There's a few companies out there really in the U.S. that are building arcade games. And we just kind of wanted to do something unique that we thought we could do well. And, yeah, just kind of contribute and breathe a little bit more life into the arcade scene, just, you know, because we love it, basically. Alright, back to enemies. And we're at tank 1. I wanted to see if I could open this in the external editor as well. Guess it doesn't like you to open script. It won't let me open the object in an external editor. So I think I'll just have to open it here and switch back and forth between here and the editor. Stinking script, man, just didn't want to open in the window that I needed to open in. Still trying to get it, and I don't think I can. I've got one last ditch effort to try to get that window so we don't have to switch back and forth between tabs. So give me a second, just a second, guys. I'm going to close the window again, unfortunately. Sorry about this. Going to try to move the taskbar over to the side so I can try to grab that window from where it is. You can click the show information in the object to see all the code in it. That might help diff between the two. My show information doesn't always work though. That's a weird thing about it. So if I go show information, I start getting errors for whatever reason. I feel like it's a bug with GameMaker. So then when I notice how it's just kind of spinning right now and I try to close it, then I start getting this error. Access violation at address whatever. I don't know, man. And then I have to close out of it umpteen million times until it stops throwing the error. Or however many times it tried to throw the error and I've got to close out of it. It's kind of annoying, man. I don't know if it's just because GameMaker's not running, you know, in parent mode or like admin mode. Let me just try to do kill GameMaker and task. But you did make me think maybe I should just try to run GameMaker as admin. Nope. And maybe that's why it's not working the way it should. GameMaker player. C drive. think it would be in Yo-Yo Games. I don't see it here. I don't see Game Maker here. Try the other one. I don't see Game Maker. I don't see Yo-Yo Games. Man, I've got the wrong program pinned as well, so that's kind of annoying. Let's do this. Remind me later on that guy. Unpin this guy. So here we go. Open in 1.4. Pin this guy to taskbar. So for whatever reason, it was just trying to map straight over to 1.3 when I open Skycurser. I mean, when I open Game Maker. Getting there, getting there. Alright. Do we have back what we want to have back is the question. There we go. Getting there, guys. Show me what I want to see. Enemies. Base enemy. Open. It's not really letting me grab it. So it basically just, allowed me to drag it off the stage and not even now I can't even touch it anywhere. So I will have to edit this in. There's nothing I can do about that right now. I'll have to edit this in the external editor. It may come back whenever I just reset my machine, but for now this is what we got. In the meantime, let's just keep moving here. Objects, enemies, enemy 5, object enemy. Oh, we've already done enemy 5. Back here to tank. Tank 1, create. And I do want to open enemy 5 so I can just quickly grab my headers here. Enemy 5. And that's enemy 5, tank 1, create. And we'll switch over there in a second, but enemy tank 1 is right here. Okay, they're there. Unique properties. And now getting back into what we were looking at, we're good with that guy. Dead equals false. Let me just make sure that's not in here. I don't see it here. Katana hit counter. Are we over here? Katana hit counter. Nope. Griffin hit counter. Nope. Max hit points. Yes, it is over there. Max hit points. Fake hit points equals max hit points. And we will grab these guys, take them up here, because they're going to override. I can even take this guy down here because it's definitely unique. And is, I don't need fake hit points up here. So to set these variables. Hit impact, that's the same as the parent, same as the parent for explosion, same as the parent, same as the parent. Step equals 0. Stepper equals 0. Now that's one that I can pull over into parent because I've seen it in some other items. Image bool, that's unique. Max stepper, I don't have that here. Original speed and original step speed. I don't see original speed there, but I do see original step speed. Okay, gonna remove that guy. Let's see. I think I'll just take these two guys out and put them up here. Original speed is just kind of set right here. I'll set this since right now this is the exact same as original step speed. I'll set that guy right there. And EB counter, those are the eyeball counters. EB selection, tank counter, depth 110, that's an override. Depth and sprite can be removed. All this commented code definitely can be removed. Direction 180. Let's check and see what we got over here. Direction 180, same as parent. So we can remove that guy. Base image speed, is that over there? Base image speed, yes, it's 0.5. So this is an override. And let me make sure image speed is set up here as well, over here as well. Yep, it is. And then we can remove that guy. Okay, remove the comments there. We are here with the incrementer. For sure that's in the parent, but it's not the same as the parent, so we're overriding it. Let's see, activate fire. Now there are several activate fires, fire bowls, hover bounces in some of the other scripts as well, so I think we can actually move some of this stuff out, but I'm going to keep moving here and get the obvious low hanging fruit real quick. Object width is in several of them, but they are definitely all unique. EB counter, keep going here. A lot of variables in the tank. Eyeball 1, eyeball 2, eyeball counter, tank 1, yep. Okay, so can we get any efficiencies out of here? EB selection. Okay, this is probably set up here. Tank counter is equal to 1. Okay, so determining which tank is out on screen and setting the selection appropriately, 1 or 2. And let's see. EB1 counter and EB2 counter. I don't see those set anywhere. They're there. So EB, EB1, and EB2. Those are like eyeball, eyeball 1, eyeball 2. Those are all three of the eyeballs, and we're counting how many of those are on screen. Love you. EB selection equal to 1. I think I can clean some stuff up here. Maybe not, because these are counters. In EBPM impact, that's a exact same as the parent. Remove the image X scale. So this is some of the stuff I need to review, because I think that some of this is close to what's in the eyeball plane. And I think I've seen stepper somewhere as well, so, and dead equals false. Let me look here. Nothing here. Let's check enemy 4 for stepper. Nothing there. Just looking for similarities between each of these so we can reduce code as much as possible. There's an object with, let's see. Object width equals sprite width. As opposed to, do I have the object width here? I think I do. Equals, sprite get width. So I think I like this. I'm going to take this guy out of enemy 2 and go straight to our script, if I can get to it here. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll leave that comment there. Remove the object width off of here, because that should be the exact same. I'm going to try that. And I'm going to let the, just to make sure, how's the ticket system going to work, as in do you get more tickets the more kills you have? You mean for the arcade game? It's mainly, there's not going to be a ticket reel hooked up to it. If that's what you're asking, there will be only a coin, a coin. I don't know what they call them on the arcade cabinets. I'm not our hardware guy. Phil is. But there will just basically be a coin slot and a coin bucket that collects all the coins. And so there's not necessarily more tickets generated. It's just, pure, unadulterated fun. Of course, there's a high score screen. The goal is to get the highest score. When we do this correctly, we're going to hook up the high score to the internet and make sure that all high score cabinets, or basically all Skycurser cabinets, will basically be able to connect to the global high score screen. So. Alright, I think we're good there. I'm going to test this. Cancel, save just the code first. Okay. Let's test. Make sure we didn't mess anything up with the tank. It's kind of an important one, and there's a lot of code there. The one thing I didn't do is find the similarities between object enemy 1 and object tank 1, which we'll do in just a moment. Ugh, man. No? I'll have to talk to him. Alright, here we go. Still waiting for it to load. Looks like it's almost done. Here we go.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Right. That's what the plan was to do deviously. Yep. Global and local. Agreed. Yep. Thinking like we are, man. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward here and get to the carriers. Alright, let's see how this goes. Basically going to let him do all of his actions. I'll kill him in a minute. I do want him to fly off screen. See if there's any bugs that occur from my changes. Good, nothing happens. Gonna fast forward to the next two guys. Kill both of them.
Continue.
Okay, I think we're in good shape there. Alright, out of here. Okay, now let's see what we can pull out between Object Enemy 1, Create Event. Please don't tell me I don't have access to this guy. Sure, open an Explorer. Can I modify with Editor? Okay, so this is basically an object in an editor. Looks like some base things set here, but then this is where it looks like it actually gets into the variables. So it's a little bit outside the norm, but because Game Maker is acting so random for me right now, I can't even see this window, so I don't really know where this window is occurring at. Feel like it's off screen, similar to what it was doing just a minute ago, but I can't find the window anywhere. So I think I have to edit over here in eText Editor on Windows. So let's just kind of switch back and forth between here and here real quick. Speed, I don't see a step speed, good. And I should be able to, I'm just going to go ahead and open this guy in eText Editor as well. Open an Explorer, open an E, and I think there are some similarities between Enemy 1 and Tank 1. So those similarities are, there's a stepper, there's a max stepper, and this gets into the actual step event. So our code ends there. I don't see, oh there it is, stepper and stepper, and they both have max stepper as well. The max stepper is an override because it's different for both. This is Enemy 1, so I'm just going to set this guy right here. And do the same here, max stepper, just take it up to the override parent properties. And then stepper, we can go ahead and take this guy out and set it in the parent. Same here, it's already set in the parent, so we can delete it. Save, save, save. Okay, I know there's more in here. On screen, is that one of my variables over here? Nope. Original speed? Nope. Right there, is there an original speed here? That's in there. Okay, activate fire. Here we go. Take this to the parent. Activate fire. Take it out of here. And it's already out of here. Is there fire bool on both of these? Fire bool. Fire bool. Take it out. Drop it in the parent. Hover bounce, let's see. Hover bounce, max hover bounce. Fire counter, max fire count. Fire burst, max fire burst. Same between the both of them. So I think we just go all the way down to here. Same here, hover bounce, yep. Boom, gone, save, save. Okay, good there. I think that's it. I think that's all I can do between them. I feel good about that. Alright. So we're in a good spot there between those. Now let's go to boss, see what he has that's similar. Actually, I'm just going to open boss in a similar way. File Explorer. And with E. Sorry to do it like this, guys. Like I said, I'm just having problems opening it in Game Maker. Game Maker let me drag it all the way off the stage, and then like I can't even see it anymore. So, all right, next loop equals false. Let's go ahead and set up our similar headers. So we're just going to kind of do this guy, open this guy, save this, hit OK. And it looks like it starts right here, so I'm just going to set this up. Probably even just pull this guy right here. Override parent properties, do the same thing here. Remove event inherited, set up unique properties for just kind of clean code. In explosions is 0. I know there's a katana hit counter and a couple of other. Why is it doing that? I don't know. Like I said, I think the problem is that it happened when I tried to snap one of the windows to the left side of the screen, and my monitors wouldn't let that occur. You know how Windows, you can basically take windows and snap them to each side of the screen. I was trying to do that, but I tried to pull it down to the bottom where I thought I would catch a corner, and I thought maybe it would, you know, try to snap it to the window, but instead I pulled it off the monitor screen, and I can't, my mouse can't go back down there and pull it back up for whatever reason. So I think I'm just going to have to wait until I restart my computer to see that again. Now I'm seeing Katana hit counter and Griffin hit counter, and I'm pretty sure there are a couple of other objects that have both these checks, and I think one of them is the tank, and another is for sure the Necro Star. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that has this. Katana hit counter. Well, there's a quick way to find out. I should be able to open a script and find out. It should be under Skycurser, Weapons, Weapon Attack, and let's check for Griffin. Let's check for Katana counter. Wait, is that the name of it? Katana hit counter. Hit counter. Come on, I know you're in here. Carrier. Boss. It says that's it. Okay, and then Griffin. Griffin hit counter. So we are looking at the carrier, the Necro Star, 1 and 2, and boss. Okay. So we're going to pull out Necro Star 1 and 2 basically. Open an Explorer. Edit with E. Open an Explorer. Edit with E. And then let's see what we got in here. We got one more to get, which is the tank. Tank. Open an Explorer. Edit with E. Okay. Now we can take these guys out. Drop them down here. Save. So I'm looking for the Katana hit counter, Griffin hit counter. I think they're in here. There's one there at least. Griffin hit counter there. Gone. We'll come back to the Necro Star 1 later. Is there a Katana hit counter or a Griffin hit counter here? There's a Griffin hit counter. Save. And then Object Tank 1. Katana and Griffin hit counter. Boom. Cleaned up. In the base. They're all in the base. Okay. And since we're still working on boss 1, let's just keep working through here. Original image speed. I feel like I saw that in another item. Maybe the tank, but we'll keep moving here. Actually, let's just look at that real quick. Original speed, and I only see image speed here, so I think maybe I'm wrong. Base image speed is definitely overridden here. Image speed is base image speed. Step equals 0, same as parent. Outside room, false, same as parent. Depth equals 150, that's an override. Original step speed, direction is an override. Object width, that's set in the parent with the sprite width. Image speed, that should be in the parent. Image speed set off of base image speed. Original image speed. That should be base image speed. So my only question is, Am I setting original image speed anywhere else in here? Nope. So I think I'm good just to say, just to set this up here in the override parent properties as base image speed. Invulnerable equals false. Original step speed. Yep, that's an override. Speed equals enter screen speed. That's a little bit unique. I'm going to leave it down here. Original hit points, third hit points. HP equals original HP, leave it down here. Flashing equals false, that should be set here. Flashing false. Boss enter true. Flashing false, I guess I had flashing false set twice. Flash counter max. Hit counter, roar counter. Unique boss variables to help with the loop. And more unique boss variables. Lots of boss variables. And I think that's it. Boom. Okay, let's open the, we've finished with the boss. Got 2 more to go. Open the Necrostar chunk. Open Explorer. Edit with E. Object width, we've got that. Guess I need to get the headers again. Can I just open it here and grab it? Yep. Okay, got that. Close. Don't save changes, we didn't really change anything. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for the paste here. For unique. And now we go back up here to hotspot direction. That's an override. Let's verify what's in the parent. Direction equals 180 should be here. Yep. So that's not an override, it's the same. Original step speed, is that over here? Yes. Original step speed is here. And speed equals original step speed, so actually we can remove these. Base image speed equals 0.15. Let's see what the base image speed is here, if there is. Yep. So this is different, and this is an override. Outside room, step equals 0. Outside room, incrementer, depth equals 150, that's an override. Hotspot depth, okay, leave that alone. Reverse equals false, HP equals 30. Bring it up here. Save. Next, and you might say, why does the Necrostar have hit points? Well, there's a soft spot on the Necrostar, and we didn't want to make the Necrostar reverse direction immediately if you were hitting it with the Vulcan cannon and maybe even the shotgun, depending on how close you were to it. So it takes a couple of hits on the Necrostar hotspot or the soft spot in order to reverse directions with it. You can't kill it. You can only just make it reverse directions. Okay. And then we got one more here that we're going to do, and I think that'll be it for tonight. Slow and tedious, I know, but definitely worth it in terms of how clean the code becomes after this. Open with eText editor. Of course, you know, I keep failing here. I keep not opening or keeping another object open so I can get the headers. The headers will help keep it a little bit clean. So switch back over to eText editor. I guess this opens another folder each time I open it in Explorer. It's kind of annoying. Okay. Nerf Necrostar for being invincible. That's the thing, man. It's like kind of like an asteroid field where you got to fly through it correctly. All right. So we're back here. Unique. Object width is basically this. Direction 180 is the same as parent. This is an override. Okay, base image speed equals 0.15. I think that's an override. Let's check. Yep, it's an override. And then step equals 0, same as parent. Outside room, same as parent. Incrementer, same as parent. Depth equals random range. That's an override. And then hit points equals 1. That's an override. So boom. All right, let's go test. Make sure nothing that we changed is going to break anything. I think we're in a really good spot here. Let me just make sure all these are closed out. Let's test. It'll take a minute to reload those files for the compiler, so give it about 30 seconds. And if you've been watching anybody else's channel and you say, why do their compilers go so much quicker? It's because we've added a lot of files in here, specifically sound files and video files in a couple of places, and so that's really bloated the size of the code base. So it takes a little bit longer to load and compile each
time. Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
So everything feels pretty good so far. I don't see any reasons to believe that there's anything that's been broken. That's really good because we've updated and actually made a lot of things a little bit better because now they're inheriting properly and we're not duplicating code unnecessarily. You should never duplicate code if it's possible. Get creative to not duplicate code. Make sure Jackie is okay as well.
Mission complete.
Gonna switch over to meat mode really quick. I'm gonna make sure this jumps off of the screen. I added this. Well, there's actually one kill because I killed Gaki, but yeah, you get 0 kills whenever you die on Gaki because you have to continue, and we basically reset your kills when you continue. So.
Stop meat mode. Go.
Nothing really got dropped or killed like it should have, so really feel a lot of slowdown. I feel a little bit of slowdown whenever everything was bumped up on the screen. But I think we knocked out that bug that we were worried about yesterday, which was a sound bug. That was correct. Got that out, and that was causing a lot of slowdown. Might have to make right now fairly easy. But it didn't used to be this way. It used to be a little bit more difficult when Skycurser was so powerful. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It is. And I would like to make it more difficult by speeding up the enemies as time passes. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, solid frame rate the whole time. Seemed pretty good. And like I said, when that sound bug was there, it didn't used to be solid like that. So I think that's it, guys. I think that's going to have to be the stream for today. I got through a lot. It didn't feel like a lot, but that actually was a lot. Aiden, how's it going, man? It didn't feel like a lot, and the reason why is just because it was a little tedious. And as we progress forward now and create new enemies, we will make sure that they all inherit from the object base enemy, and that they all properly get their data from the initialization script. Thanks a lot, Astra6, man, and thanks again for the follow. Really appreciate that. Hope to see you again soon as well. Yeah, the next thing that we'll probably do, and yes, it's dealing with the enemies again, but we're probably going to create a step event in the parent of the object base enemy. So here I actually can't. Again, back to where it's not opening where I need it to. It's just a little bit annoying. Yep. So what we'll do is we'll create, again, once I reset my computer, my machine, I think we'll be past this. But thanks as well to Beasley. Once I reset my machine and am able to show you what's in the object base enemy, I don't think right now that it has a step event. We want all of the children, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5 enemies, 9 enemies total. We want all of them to inherit from the step event of the parent, if possible. But that means we have to be extremely careful because each one of them has their own movements and kind of their own AI. So that might be a little bit tricky, but I'd like to do that because most of them go through a very similar process and call very similar things. Awesome, Astra6. Yeah, that's the place to follow us mainly because we put a lot of our stuff there, and you can see when we're going on stream immediately. So I think that's it for today, guys. Got through a lot. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. All of our videos are archived to YouTube, and follow us on Tumblr. You'll be able to see any updates before they actually get to me in terms of artwork and arcade cabinet and anything there. So again, thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you on the next stream. Talk to you soon.